Welcome back to another Project Rebirth review. Today we're going to take a look at another Superman and another McFarlane Toys figure, this time the Unchained Armour Superman. Here's a look at the front of the box. On the upper left hand side it says 22 moving parts, and on the right hand side the McFarlane Toys logo. Here is the left side of the box, the right side, and here's a look at the back of the box and Superman in his armor from the Unchained Armour comic, and some other figures in the line that you can collect. Alright, let's get Unchained Armour Superman out of the box. Alright, so here's a quick look at the inner packaging. And moving the main figure out of the way, we can see a small base for the figure, the trading card, which is identical to the image on the back of the overall packaging, and these plug into the back of the figure, which is essentially his cape or wings. Alright, I've moved the wings out of the way so you can get a closer look at the trading card. I'm going to leave this sealed in the plastic. Alright, here's the figure out of the box, and just look at how wickedly cool this figure is. Let's take a 360 look at Armored Superman. Alright, let's take a look at articulation. Figure's head can rotate all the way around, 360. Can bend down pretty decently, chin to chest at the neck. And look up just slightly better or at neutral. Head can twist a bit from side to side for different expressions. Arms can extend at the shoulder to approximately 90 degrees. Single jointed elbow, again approximately 90 degrees. And the hand can rotate around at the wrist, but it does not, I don't believe. Yeah, it can flex inward as well at the wrist. Rotation for this figure is at the upper torso, not at the waist. And it can twist from side to side, bend backwards about that much, and do an ab crunch just a very little bit. Figure can do the splits to about there. Decent joint at the knee, double jointed, and unlike the Superman figure with this armor at the knee, it's not quite so ugly looking. Toe can bend upwards like that, and you get quite a bit of flex at the foot. There's actually a problem is, again, there seems to be a problem with packaging with the feet with these McFarlane figures. Mine, when I got them, it was jammed up in this position. And it took a lot of work to get that foot, even there, to return down to a neutral position, which made it difficult to stand right out of the box. I would note on that subject, there's been a couple times where the figure's been standing stationary for hours, and then just suddenly will fall over for no apparent reason. And again, I suspect it's those ankle joints. For comparison purposes, here's the McFarlane Armored Superman on the right, and the regular Superman on the left. And here he is next to the Mattel figure from Batman vs. Superman. And here's the Armored Superman alongside the DC Direct New Frontier Superman. Here he is with custom Batman and Robin figures from the Batman Missions line. Here's McFarlane's Armored Superman going toe-to-toe with Beast Kingdom's Armored Batman Battle Damage version. And here's McFarlane's Armored Superman alongside McFarlane's Hellbat. Alright, so here's my final thoughts with regard to the McFarlane Unchained Armour Superman. First of all, with regard to the pros, I think that the biggest pro would be the look of this figure. This figure looks really cool. And to me, it has a very giant Japanese robot kind of look about the figure. I grew up with shows like Space Giants, Johnny Sacco and his Flying Robot, and Ultraman. And of course, movies like Godzilla and Gamera. This figure is also very reminiscent of Power Rangers and Pacific Rim, and you can get the idea. I'm sure there's many more examples that could be cited. For me, I'm not a fan of the Unchained Armour comic. I thought the story was a bit boring. It just didn't do anything for me, but if you liked it, that's great. But for me, I'd much rather use my imagination with regard to this figure. I could easily imagine that Superman could grow in size like Ultraman and be fighting space monsters the size of Godzilla when he's wearing this armor. Or perhaps when he wears the armor, he could be invulnerable to kryptonite. You get the idea. The way this figure looks so cool, the possibilities for your imagination are endless, and maybe you're just going to look at it on a shelf and not worry about any stories about the figure, and that's cool too. So the only con for me about looks would be the fact that it has trigger fingers instead of a fist or an open hand or some other options there. Also in the comics, the figure had a sword and a shield. Neither one of those were included, so if you cared about that storyline, maybe that would be important to you. For me, it's no big deal. I'm more bothered by the trigger fingers. And the only con, other than that, for me would be the issues with this figure's feet. As I stated earlier in the review, when I first got it, the heels were compressed again in the box. It was very difficult to stand. Many times it would fall down on its own, which would cause me to worry about putting this on a shelf with other figures posed in front of it. You know, perhaps it would fall down, creating a domino effect of falling action figures. However, I would say that it's been a few weeks since I got the figure. That issue seems to have resolved itself, and I have much less of those concerns. The figure seems to be standing much more stable, and I think it's okay now. So overall, should you buy this McFarlane Unchained Armour Superman? Absolutely, hell yes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Project Rebirth review.